if you went out and robbed a bank and shot people, would you still go to heaven? And she said, no. And he said, yes, you would, because salvation is by faith alone, and once saved, always saved. So now that you've placed your faith in Jesus, you can never lose your salvation, etc. And I'm thinking, wait a second, I agree with the lady. Jesus never tells people, oh, salvation is easy. In fact, he tells them it's hard. He says, straight and narrow is the road that leads to salvation, and broad is the way that leads to destruction. Salvation by faith alone is unbiblical. The only time that phrase faith alone actually occurs in the New Testament is actually in James, where James is saying we're not saved by faith alone. Paul definitely says that we're saved by faith, but he never says by faith alone. St. Paul says, Romans 2:6, he will render to every man according to his works. Hold on, is that Paul or is that James? For those who are factious and do not obey the truth, but obey wickedness, there'll be wrath and fury. Oh, that sounds very much like we're going to be judged by what we actually do. And in verse 13, he says, it is not the hearers of the law who are righteous before God, but the doers of the law who will be justified. Romans 2:13. Ouch! Matthew 7:21. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only he who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. And then in Luke 9, where our Lord says, if anyone comes after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me.